chicken plays a big role in my home kitchen simply because after a very long day at work, I don't have time to make really fancy dishes. I can put a chicken in the oven, roast it to perfection, and forget about it. If I have a little bit more time, I can do little fancy crepes and stuff it with mushrooms, asparagus. The chicken never fails me. Roasting chicken is a chef's favorite thing to do. I have some chickens on my farm. That's why I love it so much. Always in the chicken with some giblets. Right here there's the liver, there's the heart, and the gizzards. All this is really good stuff. Okay, let me chop it up here. Now on our farm, the chickens are free range. That only means that we let them roam free and they eat, we feed them corn, and they're not full of all this chemical stuff that you find something. You should really ask your butcher to find you some free-range, grain-fed chicken. You'll see such a difference. Okay, the gizzards are done. How about a little rub for this chicken? A little bit of paprika, why not? Some onions, thanks Tom.
Welcome, Chef.
Beautiful onions that are diced up, roasted garlic, lots and lots of it for extra flavor. A little salt, a little pepper, and a little bit of olive oil. Now you squish it up. Okay, you just want the garlic to be pretty well smashed up. Okay. Now let's take our chicken. Now that's a beauty here. It's a big fat chicken, not too much fat. That's what you want to look for. No bruises on the breast either. And now it's time for a little massage. There you go. You try to get it all the way under, on top, in the little crevices. You see that? A little bit on the bottom. Can you imagine the flavor that's going to give? Oh. Okay, when he's all covered up, a little bit inside maybe, you put it back inside, just like that. Now it's very important to wash your hands at this point, just like this. Okay, in the fridge it goes. Now I'm letting this marinate in the fridge so all the flavors go right in the chicken. It needs to go right in the flesh here. It'll be delicious. Now for this chicken, even better way is stuffing the chicken with some more flavors. You want to add a little more flavor. So a little bit of olive oil, more onions, why not? Lots of onions. A little more garlic. You can almost overpower the flavors here because it's going to be stuck in the cavity of the chicken and it needs to push in the meat. Okay, so to this, I'm adding some pork fat. So just ask your butcher, he can get you a piece. I'm just slicing little pieces just like that and roughly dicing it. You don't need to be precise here. This will actually give a little bit of moisture, and it's almost a neutral taste. That's a good thing about pork fat. You let this caramelize, and come with me here, I'll show you what it looks like when it's perfectly steamed. You see all the little bacon bits? Now to this, more flavors, pork meat, why not? A little bit of ground pork, and you remember our gizzards? Hey, we're gonna put them right in here. There you go. Now you get the flavor from the pork, you have the flavor from the chicken. That's gonna be luscious. You cook this, and look at this one here. It's all cooked, but it's cooled down, and that is the key here. You don't want a hot stuffing, you want it cool when you stuff the chicken. Now to complete the stuffing, I have some breadcrumbs here, raw bread, that you just crumble with your fingers like this. And how about a little parsley? A little bit of sage, just like this, chopped up. Some paprika for a nice color, and 2 kinds of olives. Why 2 kinds? Hey, why not? It'll be good, wouldn't it? A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And here's a funnier ingredients. Hard-boiled eggs. This will actually stretch the stuffing, and it'll be absolutely fantastic. You can leave them a little bit undercooked. That's actually even better. In there it goes. There you go. Oh, thanks, Tom. Sure. So our cooled mixture, I'll actually just put them right over the bowl, just like this. Can you imagine the flavors on this? Stuffing was actually almost invented to stretch the meal here. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that now. A little more handwork. You just mix all the flavor. Can you imagine what this tastes like? I gotta try it, all right? We have our rubbed chicken. We have our stuffing. How about a little roasting? Stuffing is very important when you're roasting a chicken. Just imagine the stuffing flavors the meat, and the juices from the meat flavors the stuffing. If you put something sweet in the stuffing, it'll literally affect the taste of the meat of the chicken. And when you cook it on the bone, I mean, that's the ultimate flavor. Now that this guy is all rubbed, marinated, it's time for a little stuffing, don't you think? Okay. So just with a spoon, I always start with the neck. That's right here. So right in with the spoon. You can use your hand actually. Sometimes it goes better for this part. And this little piece of fat here actually is going to help the stuffing to go right in. And now for the cavity, and you push it all the way in. I can already imagine what this is going to taste like, and all the flavors that are in the stuffing. Oh my God, I'm telling you, I can't wait to try this. Okay, so once it's all pushed right in like that, we have to secure it with a little bit of butcher's twine. So you turn this little guy like this. I have a really long piece of string here. I always start by the end here. So by the back, and you always want to secure the stuffing. You lift the legs up. You give it a twist. And right under here, you see this little flap? I go right under. I do another little twist, and then the legs. And you secure it very, very well. We'll make it a little bow to make it look nice. There you go. Now this guy is secure. He's going right on the little grill. Okay. Now we bathe them with olive oil just to make sure that it doesn't burn. It roasts perfectly in the oven. I'm putting this chicken in a really, really hot oven to create a really nice dark crust on the outside. After about 20 minutes, this guy here needs to come out. And the reason why I'm taking it out, and Tom's putting a little bit of olive oil, just to make sure it doesn't burn again and keep it moist, and a little bit of wine on the outside of the pan to create some steam. And that way it'll cook it all the way through. I'm also turning this oven to a lower temperature just to make sure it doesn't burn. And look at this baby here. Doesn't that look fantastic? Oh, now this, in my opinion, is love. All right, little guy. Oh, it smells so delicious. So you can take it with the strings, or actually I can't wait to try this. Don't forget your string here with a piece of, with some scissors, you just pull it right off. And now a little carving, don't you think? A little carving, a little tasting, why not? It smells so fantastic with the breadcrumbs. So for the leg here, I always start with the leg because it's easier to get access to the breast after. So you just go like this. Now here's a cool trick. You take your rag like this, you flip the bird around, and you just snap it right off. You see, that's perfect. I want to make sure this little piece here, you see? This little piece right here that's under the bird, this is called soliles, which actually means the silly person does not eat it. The person who doesn't eat it is actually silly, which is the oyster in English, and it's so, so tender. It's the most tender part of the chicken, actually. So this breast here, we're just following the bone, just like that. Pretty hot stuff, actually. Maybe I'll slice it a little, why not? The skin is very crispy. That's exactly the purpose of the first cooking time in a very high temperature. Now you can't forget the stuffing, can you? So right in the center, just fish it out, just like this. All right. Looks good, eh? Don't you think?
Yeah.
I can't wait to try this. It smells absolutely fantastic. I think I'm just gonna try the stuffing to start. This is so tender and so juicy. It's a perfect combination with the stuffing. When you cook a whole roasted chicken, you actually will be left with excess chicken, but you know what? I'm gonna show you a really, really cool way to use the leftover meat here. In a kitchen, in a restaurant, anywhere, you never discard of the carcass because this is where all the flavor is. Take the carcass, put it in a pot, and you can make the most wicked stock ever. How does crepes filled with chicken, asparagus, and mushroom sound? Sounds pretty good to me. Let's make the filling. In this pot here, I have some clarified butter. The reason why I'm adding clarified butter, it has a higher smoke point, a more pure taste actually. I add some flour. What I'm making is actually a bechamel sauce, which always starts with a roux. A roux is butter and flour, equal parts. And you see what happens here? It becomes all lumpy and clumpy. Well, this is exactly what I'm looking for, believe it or not. This roux, you can make it very pale like this. You can make it a little darker, and the darker you take it, the more nutty it gets. So this is actually exactly what I'm looking for, the color. To this, I'm adding some chicken stock, just like this, a little bit of milk. I wouldn't add cream at this point instead of the milk. The fat content of cream is way too high. It wouldn't work for this recipe here. You see I'm shaking. I added cold milk just to avoid any lumps happening here. I'm shaking, 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 letting the flour boil, the mixture boil up. The flour will thicken the sauce. And you see this? I have this really, really, very sexy sauce here. Very delicious. All right, for the filling, we have some mushrooms, a little bit of onions roasting in a pan, a little alcohol, why not? A little bit of cognac. To this, we add our chicken, of course. Just like that inside. This smells absolutely fantastic. If you were here, you could smell it, but oh my God, so much alcohol. And the asparagus is gonna bring the freshness, obviously. So to this, I can't forget my sauce. So my lovely white sauce. I don't wanna add too much, but hey, just enough to coat it here. Now this sauce actually will thicken just a little bit with the brandy that I put in and the mushroom. You see this, how nice this looks already? This looks so luscious and full of flavors. Oh, I can't wait to try this. Now let's do some crepes next. When I think of crepes, I always think delicate, neutral flavor. So if you match it with a meat that's very delicate, also like chicken, and you mix it with asparagus, mushroom, for example, it's all in the stuffing. It doesn't have to be a dessert. It can be a savory crepe also, and it just has this delicate texture in your mouth. Let's finish our crepe stuff with asparagus, mushroom, and chicken. We need to make the crepe batter, don't we? So I'm sifting some flour just to avoid any lumps or anything like this. A little bit of nutmeg for extra flavor. Like this. Okay. Now here's a good trick here. You create a well in the center. That'll be your little pocket for your eggs. So an egg yolk, a full egg, and then the liquid part is just milk. There you go, right in the center. A little magic whisk, and you just whisk just to get all the lumps away here. Okay, now here's a good trick for crepes to give them that fluffiness is simply melted butter. So you add melted butter right inside, just like that, and that'll give it that luscious, very, very rich flavor. Now what Tom is doing over here, he's actually making us a sauce to go over these crepes. So with the same sauce that we did before, he added some white wine, a little bit of tarragon. I'm telling you, this is gonna be so good. All right, so to this here, another nice trick for doing crepes. This batter here, if you want a very smooth texture, you put it through a sieve. Just like this to get any lumps that you might have forgotten in there. And you just pass it through. You see already I can see in the strainer that I missed a couple. That's a good thing I did that. Okay. Now I have one here that's perfectly done. All I need to add is some chives, just for extra flavoring. All right, we'll give it a little stir here. We're ready to cook the crepes now. One of the tricks to making excellent crepes is using a non-stick pan here. Foolproof. To make it even more foolproof, I have a little bit of melted butter, and I just very lightly brush the pan here. That'll really assure me that I have nothing to worry about. And with a ladle, you don't need a lot of batter. That's the trick here. You put it right in, and then you simply swirl like this. You see, you want a really, really thin layer. We're not making pancakes here, we're making crepes. Now this doesn't take time at all to cook. As soon as you see the little bubblings here on the side of the pan, that means it's starting to cook. There's little bubbles coming on the crepes itself. It's almost ready to flip. To know if it is, you just give it a little shake like this and it should come right off. All right. Flip it around, you see? A little more cooking on the other side. This crepe with the mixture that we made before with the asparagus and the mushrooms, it'll be so refreshing. Can't wait. Okay, this baby's ready. It's going right here to cool down a little. We're ready for the stuffing, Tom?
Yes, we are, Chef.
Okay. Thank you. Our stuffing, make sure you get lots and lots of asparagus in there and lots of chicken. So right in the center, I'm trying not to get too much sauce so it doesn't squirt out when it's cooking. And you roll, just like a little cigar here. Try not to make it too tight, but I'm trying really to seal all the taste right in. I'm gonna put the seam facing down, again to avoid any explosion while it's cooking. And now to the oven. So I'm cooking this not for long, just until all the sauce actually penetrates a little bit of the crepe. And you see this? Now that is some sexy crepes if you ask me. Okay, now let's put these guys on the plate here. He can probably handle one. I know I can probably handle two here. Okay. That's a pretty good way to use chicken, don't you think?
I agree.
And the asparagus, it's so refreshing. Cheers. Nice job today.
Thank you,
To
Chef.
the wonderful world of chicken and how easy it is to cook, but so delicious every time.
I agree.